Okay, I don't know what is, I always have these technical hiccups when I'm doing my Facebook Live. I really don't know what is responsible, but I will find it out. This is the third time that when I'm doing Facebook Live, I will have these technical hiccups. Okay, this is where we are. What I'm saying is the national security of a nation is a very important thing. And it is the duty of every citizen to make sure that the country's security is under control, the country's security is taken care of, and the armed forces is one important element of that national security. So, if a council which is going to advise the commander-in-chief, that is the president of that country, if a council which is going to be responsible for the operation, the planning, and then promotion and the management of the armed forces, the policies, I think it is also very important that we are very, very careful how we are going to form that council. Particularly, we all know the CDS is there. His membership, as long as he's the CDS, his membership cannot be discussed. Because he is appointed as the CDS, that is normal. The Minister of Defense, the Army Commander, the Navy Commander, the Guards Commander. But if two individuals are coming from the outside, their inclusion in this Armed Forces Council should really be put into a very rigorous scrutiny. It should not be a matter of payback time or a matter of nepotism or a matter of the kabudus which is taking care of controlling this government. My concern is the inclusion of Colonel Momodou Ndaounjai. Listen, don't judge me wrong. Ndaounjai is he's a Gambian citizen. He has the right, as long as he's living healthy, to contribute towards the national development of that country like any other citizen. Every citizen has the right to contribute in the national development of that country. The Constitution gives everybody that right. It gives Ndaounjai that right. It gives you that right. It gives me that right. And this talking I'm doing is part of the execution of that right. I'm not saying that Ndaounjai should not be appointed. Ndaounjai should not be qualified to be part of that council. Ndaounjai is... I am not saying that. What I'm trying to say, I'm raising my voice that such an important council, if the president is nominating and the National Assembly is going to confirm those nominations, we have to do a proper scrutiny about those individuals. The scrutiny should be wide as everything. It should look into their character. It should look into their qualification, academic qualification. It should look into even their health and everything that concerns an individual. I did a Facebook Live here some time ago where I was talking about the Gambian National Army, particularly the Minister of Defense. When the Minister of Defense went on the television station and lied to the Gambian people concerning about the hot pursuit, I did in my Facebook Live, I have that hot pursuit agreement, bilateral agreement. I put my eyes on it. I read it. I know what is in. That is why I'm saying the Minister of Defense lied to us when he went to Fatu Network to talk about the hot pursuit where a Gambian was pursued from Senegal. The Senegalese gendarmerie crossed the border, arrest him in Gambia, shoot him in Gambia, take him to Senegal. I did a Facebook Live about it. I say it is wrong. Should not be done. Every hot pursuit bilateral agreement is in the interest, the national security interest of both neighbors. Hot pursuit agreement is in the interest of Senegal and it is in my interest. Because from experience, we have seen sometimes the police will pursue criminals from the Gambia and they will cross the border and they could not get into the Senegal to follow them. And Senegalese will follow criminals into our country and they could not follow the criminals when they enter in our country because it is against our sovereignty. So it is very important that these bilateral agreements are done, which I have nothing against it. But it is also important that every member of those bilateral agreements respect that agreement and work to execute those agreements by the letter. That means Gambia should respect Senegal and Senegal should respect Gambia in execution of those bilateral agreements. I personally, as a citizen, felt it very, very undone, very unconstitutional, and an infringement on the integrity, the sovereignty of my nation. When a military security personnel from another country, my neighbor, could follow a citizen of my country right into my country, cross the border, arrest him, shoot him, and take him back, take him to Senegal, take him to court. I had found that to be a no-go. And when I was doing this Facebook Live, I talk about our defense minister, Sheikh Omar Faye. I said, Mr. Faye lied on national television. What he said is not what hot pursuit means. And I meant it, and I know that is what I'm saying is the truth. And I also said, from this interview, Mr. Omar Faye, the defense minister, mentioned about Ndaunjai, that Ndaunjai army. And I said, Omar Faye and his colleagues want to bring the Ndaunjai army back to the Gambia. And today, I have seen Ndaunjai being recommended, being appointed to this council. The reason why I'm talking about is this. Why in the first place, what made Ndaunjai to be qualified? What made him to be recommended? How is the recommendation process? Is it because Omar Faye just decided to pick the name of Ndaunjai and give it to the president to recommend him in this council? What is the reason? What is the reason? Because if it is true, we were told that Ndaunjai also did some favors for Omar Faye when he was in the military. But those things are not very important at the moment. What I'm trying to say here, the National Assembly should now scrutinize the history of Ndaunjai. If you don't know, Ndaunjai was the army, it was the commander of the Gambian National Army during the time when, if you listen to the TRRC, most of those military officers, retired military officers who came there, complained about the corruptness and the nepotism that was going in the army at that moment, which led to the demotivation of most of the military officers. And what was the end result? 1994 coup d'etat. If you don't know, you just go to the history of the TRRC, listen to the TRRC tapes, and listen to those military officers who came there. What did they say about the Ndaunjai army when he was the commander? I am urging the National Assembly members to go into the history of Ndaunjai's administration in the Gambian with the Gambian National Army before 1994. In my view, when you look at the history of what happened during that time, when you look at the demotivation of the military officers at that time, when you look at the way the army was administered at the time, nepotism, favoritism, family, kabudus, which has no place in a national army. This is exactly what was happening there. Don't take my word for it. I'm telling you to listen to the TRRC about the officers. And I am quite sure there are officers in the national army at this moment who actually have the same feeling as I'm just saying. They will not talk about it. Why Ndaunjai? Ndau was away from that country, from that army for nearly 30 years. Yaya Jammeh's 22 years. Ndaunjai, one can rightfully say he could be in his 80s or 70s or 80s. But all those things don't matter, because we don't have to discriminate an individual because of his age. We don't have to discriminate an individual because he's not living in the country. That is not important. But I am urging the Gambia National Assembly, the members of parliament, to properly scrutinize this gentleman. The history of his administration in the Gambian National Army, that was before 1994. They have to really scrutinize it. What has this man gone through after he left the Gambian National Army? What has he done professionally? What qualification? And you don't have to stop it. You don't have to stop at what the Minister of Defense is going to present to you at the National Assembly. You have to make sure you scrutinize. Even an individual tell you that I have a bachelor's degree for university so. This university needs to be contacted and confirmed whether this individual was a student of that university. If an individual put it on the paper, the Minister of Defense presented a paper that Mr. Ndaunjai worked in one company, that company has to be contacted. My problem is, you cannot bring back people who messed up our institution to an extent that it led to 1994 coup d'etat of Yahya Jammeh. Because the officers, all what they claim was the system was not working. The system was controlled by kabudus. You have friendship clubs. Officers were promoted not based on their qualification. Officers were promoted not because of their competence before the 1994 armed forces. I am not saying I said it, but I'm saying I listened to the TRRC and I listened to officers who were working under ex-Colonel Ndaunjai. They said it. So, as such a person with such a history of gross nepotism and corruption, you bring that person back and put it in a council which is going to now manage the armed forces, one of the most important pillars of our national security. How on earth does that come about? The minister should tell you people under what basis is Ndaunjai recommended to be in that council. Is it because we were told that Omar Faye was in Liberia and he decided to run away from battle? He came back to the country and he was dismissed. It was Ndaunjai and his co who brought him back. So is it a payback time? If those things are true, what they allegedly say Omar Faye did in Liberia, and he was brought back through the back door, if that was true, would that not be a concern for such person to recommend that very individual who brought him back to the army in such a corrupt manner to be recommended to be in one of these most important council of our national security? Gambians, we have to be very careful. We are seeing everywhere in the government, corruption everywhere. Fathers giving contracts to sons and sisters and daughters and friends and relatives. Corruption is endemic in that system, in that country. You don't take my word for it. The Minister of Health said it. And these are all done by a group of people who decided to come and control the system, our country, our government. And they want to decide it in any way they want it. And they want us to sit and close our eyes. They want us to sit and ignore what they are doing. They want us to sit and not talk about what they're doing. We will not do it. Ntakela bi, ntakela sama. Albe menkela alba kelale, ndol fana be memfola mba folale. So this is a plea to our National Assembly members. I am glad that somebody is telling me that they refer the confirmation to the Security Committee of the National Assembly. Good. I think that's a good thing. And the Security Committee of the National Assembly should not stop at anything. They should turn all stones. Every stone should be turned to know why. Why this, why that, why this, why that. And let me make it clear. Personally, I'm not interested. And I will not do it. I'm not interested in the job. I will not do it. And if somebody told me whether I'll be interested, I will say, no, I'm not interested. I'm not taking up the position. Because I know there are people more qualified than me who are right now in Gambia. And there are people who are more qualified than me and this Mr. Ndawanjai, who are also in diaspora and in the country, who could better serve, who has a clean history, clean track record. When we are putting people in such type of important positions, their integrity, their history should be unquestionable. We should not be able to question, we should not question their past and their history. And nobody can tell me, nobody in that country, be it in the military or be it anywhere, can tell me that Ndawanjai's history was clean. Nobody can tell me that. There are thousands and thousands of people who can complain about the history of Ndawanjai during his administration as the army commander. Mr. President, this is it. If you want, you decided based on what is best known to you. But I'm telling you from my mind as a citizen, this is in my mind and I'm telling you. And I'm also telling you, I'm not alone. There are people who know about the history of Ndawanjai in the Gambian National Army. And Mr. President, most of them will not talk, will not say anything. And that means you will not hear them. But just go back to TRRC and listen to the officers who gave their testimony, the ex-military officers and some serving military officers who gave their testimony at the TRRC. Revisit these records, listen to these people, and listen to what they say about the Gambian National Army before 1994. You will realize that Mr. Ndawanjai is an important pillar of that institution. What is going to happen in the Gambian National Army, as I put it in my Facebook account, welcome to nepotism in the Gambian National Army. These are the biggest proponents of nepotism in anything that they do. Ndawanjai, Omar Faye, these Mamburenjais, these are the biggest proponents of Kabudu. These are the biggest proponents of nepotism, favoritisms. He's my family, he's my boy, Dogo Army. It was what was happening in the Gambia. And when Yahya Jammeh came, what have they done? They abandoned the democratically elected government. The same people. They abandoned the democratically elected government, and then it led to the Yahya Jammeh taking over of our country. A democratically elected government of President Sadauda Kairaba Jawara was overthrown because of the negligence of such type of people in the Gambian National Army. They were so negligent, so corrupt, that they made the whole military to be shit. Anyway, as I said, I promise I will always speak my mind. And I always stand to be corrected, because I am a human being. But I will never keep quiet again. I will never keep quiet again. If I have anything in my head, I will say it. As I said, I will say it with respect. I said I will say it with dignity, and I will say it legally for my fellow countrymen to know what is in my mind. Today, this happened to be the topic that I'm talking about. And Mr. President, people are getting unhappy. Even you forget about even his activities in his administration in the Gambian National Army. These are part of people who were very quiet when we were fighting, when the Gambian people were fighting to put you in that office. What have they done? Nothing. They were quiet. They were enjoying their lives. They never want to put their lives at risk. They never want to put the lives of their family at risk. They were comfortable of what Yahya Jammeh was doing. They were really comfortable with what Yahya Jammeh was doing for 22 good years. And these are the people that you gather around you. These are the people you are gathering around you. And they are step by step trying to control that government and that country, which belongs to all of us. That country that belongs to all of us. The Omar Fais, the Mamburenjais, and their gang are step by step trying to control that government and that country that belongs to everybody. He said it here some few months ago. He said he wants to bring the Ndaunjai army. And I talked about it here on my Facebook Live some time ago. And today, Ndaunjai is back. Literally, we can say is back in the Gambia Armed Forces. Literally. I will say that. And I'm not the only one who is raising an observation. Maybe I may be the only one who is talking. Because I felt that I will not keep it here. I will say it. I will say it. I believe Mr. Ndaunjai should be properly scrutinized by the House of Parliament. And when they are scrutinizing Mr. Ndaunjai, I will urge them to look at history. You see, history is very important. When we are doing things and we refuse to look back at history, we are most of the time tend to make mistakes. Because history shows us what transpired in the past. And it makes us to learn from what transpired from the past to be able to make a good decision and good judgment. In that case, if you look at the history of Mr. Ndaunjai in the Gambia National Army before 1994, I think that should be good enough to disqualify him. And how is this recommendation done? Was there an application? Was there an advertisement? Was there an information sent to the citizens, interested citizens, to ask them that this council, which have been so dormant for all these years, the Gambia government is trying to reactivate this council. And therefore, two unofficial members of the Gambian National Army, Gambia Armed Forces, are supposed to be nominated by the president. How did these people come there? Particularly this gentleman, Mr. Ndaunjai. Is it how things are supposed to be done? A country that belongs to all of us? So when there are jobs and there are positions and important things to be done, one can just jump out of his bed and just come and go and collect his brother's hand and say, come and work for the country? Do you want to tell me that there is no protocol, no procedure of recommending or selecting or appointing people in such type of job? Yes, the president has the right to select, but the president has the right to select, and he has the right to select every